Greetings Internet, DDA here, and welcome to an exciting time we have at Random Number Gaming, which is the store showdown season leading up into the PQ season. This is the time where we take our competitive lists to the store showdown, prepping for the PQs that are coming up in the next couple weeks. We have a top cut. This is the top 8 match where we have Harrison, that is on Anakin Blue on the left-hand side, and Caio on Bossk Blue control. So this is surely going to be an interesting match. Anakin promoting a very tall, aggressive mid-range strategy, has a lot of the card discard as well that is going to prove difficult for the Bossk deck to navigate. Whereas Caio on his side, of course, Bossk Blue, one of the best control decks in the meta. I'm not sure who's starting with initiative here, but it looks like Caio's going to start with the Dr. Pershing, one of the best openings for the control deck. Going with the C3PO on Anakin's side, calling, not sure what number Harrison does call with C3PO, but Anakin, of course, loving the big booty units in the aggressive and mid-range matchups. Not so much in the control matchup. He would have liked to have dropped, like, say, that Sabine unit in hand to cleanly answer the Pershing on turn 1. Unfortunate, this C3PO will not answer the Pershing. So we're actually going to see the open fire on the C3PO. Wild here to get the open fire, to get that open fire out with the Dr. Pershing. And going to draw Dr. Pershing, one of those sleeper cards that when it came out, not many people were on it, but then once people started building the Bossk Blue control list and all this villain control decks that, kind of burn a lot of removal, answering units on the board, the card draw is very significant. To make sure you're hitting your resource drops, make sure you're getting to that late game. Of course, here, doing the Anakin ability on the Sabine unit, it's unfortunate that Harrison wasn't able to use all 3 resources last turn. It would have been great for him to drop an R2 unit. I know for a while he was running R2 unit in this Anakin list. I don't know if he still runs it in this Showdown list, but that may be where the 3PO came from, and then he may just be running 3PO for the mid-range and aggressive matchup. Potentially drawing you cards versus R2 being good to flood the board against the control decks. So, obviously, like Power of the Dark Side, Merciless Contest, always cards that you got to look out for in this matchup. And the 1-drop units are great to play around them. So we see the Force Throw here with an empty board just to kind of burn the card. The Pershing is off the board. The double Force Throw here just to burn cards. It may sound like a bad play, but I actually think this is good. What you want to do against control decks is really limit their ability to resource. That's the thing. You want them to give up their key cards. And look at here. We're seeing the discard on the Super Laser Blast. Very significant there because Caio knows that he needs to make sure that he has answers to what the Anakin deck is going to do in the next upcoming turns. And Super Laser Blast, one of the key cards in the control deck, but he needs to keep those other cards in his hand so he can survive throughout the mid game. And again, Harrison there on the Anakin side, not spending those resources, leaving 2 up going into the 5 resource turn. It's not looking good. You really want to push these control decks hard in the early game, and not spending resources is one of the ways that you can. Oh, did we just see? We did. We just saw a double pass, I think. That's crazy. I think maybe Harrison. Did Harrison claim? Or did he open pass? He did claim. So the Bossk deck must have passed and then Harrison claimed. That's a crazy play into control. Probably just looking for the Anakin flip here. I wonder what the reasoning is for that. Knowing that the Bossk deck just has such a strong late game I'm not sure if I would have done that. Like, the super laser is a timer. It's kind of a timer on these mid-range matchups. Like, once you start getting to the super laser and you go super laser Avenger, that's huge. Maybe because he saw the super laser discard, he felt like he had a little bit more breathing room. We're going to have to see how that ends up working. But the vigilance here, huge for the defeat, and shield on Bossk. The shield on Bossk is going to be massive. Just to say that the Anakin deck is absolutely not taking out Bossk. The Anakin deck is probably going to have to go base because, you know, taking out the shield and not doing any damage just seems really bad. Gonna go to base here with Bossk. This is scary. I wonder how many times Caio has played this matchup. Going to base against Anakin is always a very scary play, but maybe he knows that the Anakin deck is going to try to kill Bossk because he doesn't want to leave up Bossk for those double top targets and things like that. So we're going to have to see where this damage goes. Yeah, he's going to go straight to base. That's what I expected him to do. Straight to base because you just need the pressure. But hopefully Harrison plays a unit here. Got that one resource. Where's the R2, Harrison? Where's the R2? We're going to see the claim here by Bossk. The single unit up is a scary play against villain control. No, I'm afraid. Don't do it, Annie. This is pod racing. Please. You were the chosen one. No, don't. I don't want to see it. This is too hard for me to watch. Just the untap. Oh, there it is. The untap against the villain control deck with the only single unit. And that's kind of what I'm saying about that that round where Harrison claimed there on the boss flip turn. Yeah, it was... I understand trying to get the Anakin play there, but that was a turn where he could fill his board, save from the super laser, and then prevent that Power of the Dark Side play that we just saw on Anakin. That is surely, I mean, I don't want to call the end of this match right now, but losing Anakin and a Saber there for basically free for the control deck, like we are already approaching the Super Laser / Avenger turn. Bossk is clean on the board. This is really tough for Anakin. It looks like the boss player even had a Rival's Fall in hand, so he didn't even need to do that. He's just going to save the Rival's Fall for maybe the Crate Dragon, just in case the Anakin player drops down Crate against him. Crazy developments here in this match. Yeah, I'd be really interested to see if this is Harrison's first time playing a boss control deck. We don't have a boss control player in our local scene, so there's potential here that this could be the first time Harrison is playing it against it. So dropping down the Village Protector and Yoda, refill the board. Yoda being an excellent play against control decks. They like answering units, and Yoda draws you a card when they do that. Of course, the Shielded Sentinel is going to help stop damage. Well, it was until we got this takedown. Takedown going to allow Caio to push in damage with the boss, getting the Anakin player up to 10 damage. So it's definitely looking good for the boss player. This is going into the 9 resource turn, so we are certainly going to be seeing Avenger come out soon. And once Avenger hits the board with the board state the way that it is, with Pershing for the refill, boss just sitting there pushing in 4 damage, it's going to be rough for... Potentially, are we going to see an attack on Pershing here with Anakin ability, or just going to base? Probably base. Oh no, we are going to see just a simple attack for 2. Okay. Yeah, because, I mean, if he did Anakin ability there, it would either force the ping on Bossk or force him to lose the Pershing there. But, yeah, the damage that he's taking is significant. Going to get back the Jedi lightsaber there. Interesting. So I guess, yeah, okay. So the reason he did that, of course, instead of like opening Razor Crest to grab the saber to maybe squeak out extra Yoda value, of course, if Caio saw him return the saber, he would have just bossed into Yoda there, which he may do here anyway, just because he knows the saber. Yep, there it is. He knows the saber's there. Great plays here by Caio. Yeah, so great. Just back and forth tension here. The Power of the Dark Side, the Merciless, of course, is unbelievably significant in this matchup. We are getting into the late game here. Yep, we see that Avenger. The Avenger is coming, and here it comes now. Yep, so defeating the Cassian unit, leaving the Razor Crest, hopefully getting in that restore, and potentially doing some damage to the Avenger. Not sure. He can Anakin ability for 5 and then open fire 2 cards, but hey, when you're staring down 8 damage, getting that off board is significant. Plus, it'll be very difficult for Anakin to actually play units at this point in the game. Fell the Dragon, very significant there. This game ain't over yet. He is only pushing in 4 damage with Bossk. Technically, Anakin is winning the damage race right now. We'll have to see, but Caio has this draw engine with Pershing, and Bossk is still on board. We are on the 10 turn. Bossk is still on board. This is not good for Anakin. So yeah, you can always kind of tell how these Bossk matchups go by how long Bossk survives, I feel. Bossk, of course, being a control deck, coming out on 5. 5 is a long time to wait until you get to control deck doing control things. And if you see Bossk sticking around to the 9 or 10 resource turn, you know the Bossk player pretty much has that game on lock. So we're pretty much seeing that here, just kind of going through the motions, showing the control deck's top end with the Emperor Palpatine sweep of all the units. Oh no, almost all the units. The Razor Crest was definitely a good pick there to stop that restore. The Anakin deck is not out of it completely, though. Has some fair base damage. This is the crate turn. We could be seeing a crate come out. And he does have that one unit that is saved. It can save him from like another Power of the Dark Side or Merciless play. We'll have to see. Does he have the crate? He does not have a crate in hand. He does have a takedown that he could use on Bossk, which is significant. Yep, he's going to open the takedown on Bossk. Good play there. Save some damage. Almost discarded the Bossk to the discard pile, but nope. Leaders go back to the leader zone. But he still has that Emperor Palpatine pushing in the 6 damage. So yeah, this is it right here. We're in the hyper late game. This is where Bossk wants to be. Are we going to see, the 1 ping on Emperor Palpatine just to draw? Unfortunately, not getting within open fire range. It would be really great if he could take out that Emperor Palpatine right now, but I don't think he has a means. The perilous position is definitely going to help him. This is interesting. This is not over yet. The Snoke. Never mind, I spoke too soon. Too soon there. The Snoke, and after Harrison has already burned 1 Fell the Dragon, I don't know if this is it. Like, even a crate at this point, with the board state the way that it is, so favored on Caio's side. Yep, it looks like Harrison's just going to scoop up, and we're going to go into game 2. He knows the cards that he plays in his deck. He knows how many fells he has and how much damage Caio was going to be able to push that turn. So just scooping up. Oh, it looks like I see the R2s in the sideboard, I think. Yeah. So there are those R2s that he absolutely needs in this control matchup to just be a wall against Power of the Dark Side and Merciless Contest. Hopefully he does not put them in. That is a mistake in my opinion. The 1-cost units are just so good at being a shield against Power of the Dark Side and Merciless. You absolutely need to flood the board early game against these control decks, so that way you can ride out the mid game and you can push in heavy damage. That's what you absolutely want to do. Like, for example, I play a lot of yellow. In control matchups with my yellow decks, I actually try to turn 1 Leia Greedo. That is a play that I do most often. Again, just to flood the board. You want to force them to use all of their resources on removal at all points in the game. You don't want them to play any units. And if they play units and don't remove your units, then you want to punish that. And that's really how you have to play these control matchups and put them in a place where you put such damage on their base mid-game that they are really forced to make some hard resource decisions moving into the late game. Because you can't just simply drop Avenger and hope to swing an entire game. You have to do something else, right? You need the Super Laser, you need the Vigilance for healing and things like that. But even a Vigilance for a defeat and 5 heal won't swing the game for 6. Not on 6 at least. On 4 it can swing the game, but not on 6. They really need to be either even with you or in a winning position for that Vigilance to kind of seal things out. And we saw that in the last game, right? We saw Caio was in a winning board state position, and that is why he shielded the Bossk with Vigilance. And in that position, that shield on Bossk pretty much sealed the game, in my opinion. Just not being able to take out Bossk, continuously pushing that 4 damage, and threatening Harrison's ability to play units, even just keep simple units on the board. Very significant. But we can see, like, Vigilance is not going to swing it back for you. Like, if you do end up flooding the board and pushing in good damage in the mid-game, Vigilance then becomes a really tough play for 6. Because it is your whole turn. So, yeah. And you just have to consider, like, that's the Anakin flip turn, right? The Vigilance for 6 is the Anakin flip turn. So the point in which they're vigilancing you for 6, you could like double Saber Anakin and go in for like 10, or you could like Anakin, like Saber Bravado and things like that. Like you can, if they burn their whole turn on the vigilance on the Anakin flip turn, you can do a lot of things to push in heavy damage. So that's what we gotta be thinking about in this Bossk Blue. You know, heavy control, hyper control, just always makes you think differently about the game, and it's tough. It's definitely tough. You know, our local meta here, Harrison is, and this Anakin Blue list is part of our local meta. Our local meta definitely is more aggressive. We have a lot of Sabine players, Quinlan players, Han players, Luke players. So aggressive mid-range is mostly what's in our local meta. So, and you definitely need to play key cards in this hyper control match for sure. Dropping down C3PO, he wasn't great in the first match, but let's see if he can get it done this time. Making a call and not getting the draw. Are we going to see the Pershing again? Oh, Death Mark. Death Mark for the card draw turn 1. Ensuring that C3PO will surely perish soon, likely with a Power of the Dark Side or Merciless here. But I think Harrison was able to get the initiative. So at least he can swing with C3PO one more time, potentially another card draw. But it is unfortunate, again, like only 1 damage from C3PO. Like even with this Death Mark, you would love it to be at least a 3 damage unit or something like that. C3PO and R2, well, C3PO mainly being just such a good card in the mid-range matchup, but in the control matchup, not being great here. Just drawing 2 cards here for Caio, and getting that Chilled Sin, surely we'll be seeing that next turn. But dropping down the A-Wing, off-curve play here again, not dropping another time, not dropping a 3-drop, but he does have that Force Throw in hand, and he has a Pillage as well. So he can go Force Throw Pillage here, which is what he's going to do. Again, I like this play. Yes, he's not getting the damage. Bossk Blue doesn't play units anyway. He doesn't care about the units. Want to get rid of all those cards in hand to make him make hard choices. Now, it is a little bit less significant because he did get that Death Mark already. So he's got options. He's got plenty of options for the Chilled Sin, and we'll have to see if he gets the +4/+4 here. Of course, Chilled Sin being a dominant force in the aggro matchup, but also can just crazy push damage. Like when you have a 6/6 turn 4, yeah, just crazy damage to be able to push. Dropping down the Pershing, likely going to go for the card draw prior to dropping the Chilson here. I wonder what his other 2-drop play is going to be with that Pershing play. Maybe another Deathmark? Pushing in damage here and actually playing some units, please. Okay. We are going to see a double 2-drop play. The double 2-drop play, very strong in the control matchup, because it gives you have 3 or 4 turns before the super laser. You can push in damage now with all these units on board. But he does still have, Caio does still have that Chilson in hand. So we are surely going to see that right now. Got a Power of the Dark Side, Avenger, Super Laser, Crate Dragon. Going to resource that Crate Dragon. So craziness is ensuing on this matchup. Just lots and lots of craziness. Anakin playing a little bit more on curve this game. Good to see. So, he actually has a fair amount of units on board. Going to see the open fire on the Sabine. Want to save the Pershing there. That is surely to save the Pershing, because he has that Chilson in hand, but he wants the card draw engine to just ensure that he rides out this mid to late game just really well. Because, of course, the Sabine unit does cleanly answer the Pershing for 5 with Anakin ability. So just saving that Pershing with the open fire there, great play by Caio. So getting in the damage in space, going to draw a card with Pershing. Now can do a top target 2-drop play with that top target he just drew, or can see the Power of the Dark Side just to kind of set up. Going to see the Razor Crest here. Are we going to get a return? I don't think he's played an upgrade yet, so unfortunate there. Wonder what upgrades he would actually have in the control matchup. But we're going to see the top target on the Razor Crest. Surely going to either take down that or something else. Get in the 3 damage and then ping for 1. Yep, going to see the Bossk flip here. Push in damage is interesting because I guess he doesn't hit the Anakin break point there with the first attack from Bossk. But that's always something you got to think about with the Anakin, right? We're going into the Anakin flip turn this round coming up on the 6th turn. And just getting those Anakin 5 breakpoints for the extra power is something you always have to consider. So it's always interesting when I see just like a deck just kind of push base against Anakin. And in my head, I'm thinking, a little scary, a little risky there. I'm sure Caio knows that. This is probably not his first time playing against Anakin. Just always something you got to think about. But a huge space fleet over there on Anakin's side. Surely going to swing with that Razor Crest first. Yep, swing with that Razor Crest first because the top target's there. It's going to come, unfortunately, with the double heal from Bossk. I don't know. Does this damage matter? He really needs to take out Bossk. Going to see the Anakin flip here. Are we going to see the Rivals Fall? We know that the Bossk player plays Rivals Fall. That would be an excellent play right here to just Rivals Fall immediately. Anakin decks are heavily reliant on Anakin to push their major damage in the mid game. So if he has the Rivals Fall or a Perilous Position, this could be bad. But no, we're actually going to see the Chilson here, leaving 2 resource up potentially for another bounty, Aura and Entrenched, showing a lot of spicy things. He could have Perilous there as well, but I think he wanted to Chilson to kind of force Harrison to have some other play, right? Because he can't just run Anakin into the Chilson. He needs a Saber. He needs something to kind of force Anakin to kind of commit. But we're going to see the Pillage instead. Okay. Pillage, definitely significant in this matchup. With the card draw from Pershing is doing work, though, to help give him options. Going to see him get rid of the Perilous and the Power of the Dark Side. I figured he was going to entrench on Bossk here. Entrench on Bossk cleanly answers Anakin for 7 damage, so that is massive. So we might see the entrench on Bossk here. Yup, entrenched on Bossk. Huge. The 7 damage to cleanly answer Anakin. So Anakin can go into the Chilton, probably will. Yep, looks like he's going to do that. But unfortunate, it is almost to no avail for the Bossk player. Still keeps the Chilton, still keeps the Bossk. And then 6 damage is surely going to be coming to base soon. So the Pershing, both games Pershing has just been incredible value for Caio here. We still do have that space fleet. However, the double top target is looming. All Caio needs is a takedown to claim that bounty and get 12 heal. So while it is looking good for the Anakin, getting the boss player up to 17, he's not actually at 17. He's actually at 5. Because we are surely going to see the double top target this turn, I am sure. So again, like, you can kind of tell how the Anakin matches are going by the work that Anakin does. Anakin decks put a lot of stake into the Anakin flip. Of course, the Anakin decks still have Lukes. They still have Crate Dragons. However, I am fairly certain that Harrison does not have many Luke units. He may have 1. He may actually have 0. So that's unfortunate. You know, Luke unit, a chase card, a legendary card in set 1. Some players don't have 3 copies, and that is unfortunate. But kudos to Harrison for getting this far in the tournament with very little Luke Skywalkers. So another pillage here going to come out and take the rest of the hand from Caio. Still has Pershing to refill the hand. Still has Chilton for 6, and then a 7 damage entrenched Bossk. I'm sure you know what it is. I am fairly certain that entrenched play is actually a double answer play. The reason that that Bossk did that is because not only did it answer Anakin, but it also answers a Luke unit for 7 damage. So I'm sure that the reason he entrenched Bossk was because it kind of threatens 2 amazing answers to 2 units that the Anakin player wants to play. Of course, dropping down Yoda, still a decent sized force over there with a lot of damaged units on Caio's side. So Anakin, where's the OB for 9? No. Now OB would not be good here. Actually OB would be decent. You could take out Chilton and Pershing. OB for 9. No. But yeah, I think Harrison severely limited in this matchup by not having a full set of Luke units. I think that's like the main unit you need in this matchup, right? Because right here, like, you take out the Chilton, save yourself the 6 damage, got the Luke unit on board. Yeah, it probably just takes a Fell the Dragon or something, but, you know, just taking out the 6 damage for free is what you want to do. But unfortunate, we're going to see the Smuggle Cassian and then 6 damage into base from Caio. This is getting a little bit dicey for Anakin after getting that 12 heal from the double top target. Now we're going to see the Gar Saxon Gauntlet stand to meet the Space Fleet. Meet it. And interesting interaction here with the Gar Saxon Gauntlet and Anakin ability. You would think that the Gar Saxon Gauntlet is cleanly answered by the A-Wing with Anakin ability, but unfortunately the experience happens prior to the damage. So the Gar Saxon Gauntlet will survive. Yep, pointing out this now. Gar Saxon Gauntlet will survive with 1 HP. It's a great play here by Bossk, just showing that he has likely played this matchup before and knew that the Gar Saxon would survive there, even with Anakin ability, and just continual drawing from that Pershing. Pershing just having insane value in both these games. Harrison having to trade his full space fleet there to go into the Gar Saxon Gauntlet. Of course, having to do that because he can't take the extra 4 damage, right? He's at a point in the game where he has to prevent damage. He's losing the damage race. And now that we're in the late game at the point where we're going to start seeing Avengers in crates, really who plays the first one might be significant. Playing crate to an open board is scary when Avenger is a card, however. Like, yeah, you do 8 to base, but does that matter when Bossk is still around? Oh, well, we are going to see the Crate Dragon. Is that exact situation going to happen right here? I think it is. So, yeah, the Avenger cleanly answers the Crate Dragon. Wow. It's like I have, like, foresight or something. The Avenger cleanly answers the Crate Dragon. And again, like, yeah, you take 8 to base or you take out, like, you do 1 damage to Bossk or Pershing, whatever. You do 8 to base because it makes, or 9 to base because it makes the most sense, right? You can't hit the Avenger because it's ground units only. So, yeah, unfortunate there. Like, the boss player almost doesn't care about that 9 damage at this point. And that's kind of what I mean in the beginning when I was talking about pushing that damage to the mid game, like pushing them to the upper echelons of, you know, the early 20s. Basically, you want to get the control decks to like upper teens, early 20s by the time the mid game is over. And this is the reason, right? Like, that is the reason. So that way you can crate, and you can basically threaten lethal with crate. Like, that's the situation that you want to be in. Unfortunate, just wasn't able to get there with the damage. And now that we have Crate Dragon, now that we have Avenger on the board, this Restored Arc is a little sad boy, just getting played and immediately removed from the field, taking 8 to base. So this is definitely a losing battle here. Anakin at 21, the Bossk at 14. We'll have to see what from Smuggle he has or what else we can see here. Rival's Fall, having resourced that earlier, would be nice to answer Avenger, but just the normal force throw would be significant if not for Pershing having drawn him about 3 or 4 cards this game. And just continual drawing here, getting extra value out of the Entrenched for extra card draw. Yep, dropping a Chilton for another 6/6. Yeah, and got the Fell there just in case another crate comes out or something big, and we are seeing all the answers you need. Here's lethal, right? 6 plus 8 is 14. That's more than you need to end the game going into the next turn, and just drawing a Snoke there just to ensure it being over. Yep, and we're going to scoop up. So that is the top 8. Bossk control, taking it against Anakin. Honestly, to be expected. I think this is an uphill battle for Anakin with the tall strategy. The tall strategy is difficult when you have Merciless, Power of the Dark Side, and all that. But if you like this video, please hit that like button. Please hit subscribe for all the best match videos and game guides for Star Wars Unlimited. And as always, turn your dial to Random Number Gaming.